I have to give a TED Talk. It's a homework assignment. 10 minutes, record yourself, no problem. Except, I don't have the greatest track record with assignments. When I was 6, my first grade teacher told me, go sit over there at that desk and do your math homework. And I told her, I can't. Monica, go sit over there and do your math homework. I can't. Well, after the 4th I can't, I no longer had to go over there or do my math homework. I had to go to the principal's office for the very first time. As you may have guessed, this was the start of a pattern. Of course, my first grade teacher, like most teachers since then, was not a bad teacher. Most of the time, I was simply not a good student, including that day. On that day, when my teacher told me to go sit at the desk and do my math, my objection had nothing to do with the math, and everything to do with the fact that the desk had no chair. I couldn't sit. And that's been my problem with education. A fundamental mismatch between what I needed to learn and what the teacher needed to teach. I have a hypothesis about why this problem continues to happen, not just for me, now a doctoral student, but also for students of every age throughout this country. My hypothesis is that this happens because no one ever taught us how to do the most fundamental thing of all, how to be a student. How did I become a student? Let's see, I turned 6. When you're 6, you go to first grade, and you're finally in elementary school. Maybe some kids start a little earlier, and if I had a catchy anecdote about kindergarten, I would have probably used that. But now, here I am in first grade, and I'm a student. What does that mean? Did anyone ever explain it to me? I don't think so, because I don't remember ever thinking of myself as a student. I was just a kid, and all kids were students. This is kind of disempowering when you think about it. Not only did I have no choice over becoming a student, and that's not saying that I should have, but I had no idea what being a student really meant. And as a result, I had no idea until decades later how powerful it can actually be to be a student. Nobody ever told me how good students learn well, and there's a whole passel of data on this topic, so I'm not just making it up. Nobody ever taught me what kind of learner I was. Kinesthetic, logical, visual, social. Nobody asked me what kind of learner I wanted to be. An active, discussion-oriented learner, or a quiet, reading-oriented learner. Nobody talked about learning as a skill. It was just something we had to do whether we liked it or not. Why do we teach math and reading and science so proactively, but we don't teach learning? There's a whole college built around it at most universities, full of social scientists and psychologists and educators, all studying learning itself. But why do I have to wait until I go to college, if I go into the social sciences, to learn how to learn? Surely it's not that complicated. It doesn't even take a lesson plan most of the time, because I've seen the best teachers do it, the ones who aren't blinded by the necessity of the math and the reading and the science. Sir Ken Robinson talks about it in his book, The Element. He talks about a girl named Jillian who couldn't sit still. We'd probably have put her on Ritalin today, but her mother was lucky enough to find a doctor who prescribed dance classes. He recognized that Jillian learns through and with her body. Now, Gillian Lynn is one of the most famous dancers and choreographers in the world. Kenneth Bain also talks about this in his book, What the Best College Students Do. He discusses in great detail the characters, traits, and practices of people he calls deep learners, people like Stephen Colbert, David Protes, and Tia Fuller, who frequently seem to become far more successful in life than their surface learning counterparts, even if they don't get better grades. In the first chapter, he talks about a writer named Cheryl Kafka, who took a class her freshman year in college that was about how we explore and create knowledge, visually, spatially, kinesthetically, with color and words and music. I asked my own freshman students to read this book, even while I was teaching them time management and how to write a well-structured paragraph and how to ask good questions. During one questioning exercise, several of them wrote down, "What did we learn in high school anyway?" Good question. I don't know what their teachers wanted them to learn, but I don't think it was how to learn, at least not for most of them. My first grade teacher wanted me to learn math, and I wanted to learn how to sit at a desk with no chair. A very confusing puzzle for a 6-year-old who was already far too literal. But neither of those things is what I really needed to learn in that situation. What I needed to learn was how to ask for help. I was 6, and I didn't know that my teacher didn't know that. The whole thing could have been solved through the application of a single, simple question. Why? "Monica, go sit at that desk and do your math worksheet." "I can't." "Why not?" "There's no chair." "Oh, well, sit at the next desk then. And next time, instead of just saying you can't, tell me why you can't do something, so I can help you. Okay?" "Okay."